Hello twin flames, welcome to my channel. Whether you're new or coming back, thank you for joining me today, and let's get started with the reading. I've got the Monology deck today to get us the oracle message, and then we'll go straight into tarot. Today's a big day in the United States if you're here, or if you're following the global news, because the presidential elections took place yesterday, and today is like that first day when people are processing the results and what that means. And I guess it makes sense to say that it's harder to process for people who voted for the Democratic candidate because they lost. Donald Trump has won, and it's a lot of like, so what happens next? Like, I don't even know what my life is gonna be like. It's to that extent because of how contrasting their campaign, the Republican campaign, has been from the status quo. Basically, there's a lot to say about that. Of course, we aren't going to talk about it here, but I'm just going to say, if you are one of those people that's processing the news, you're not alone. And by all means, I feel like this is more than anything for me. For instance, I know it will set a different tone for me making a decision. For example, I'm a permanent resident, but do I want to be a citizen of this country? And I'm gonna be deciding this during Donald Trump's second term. I actually moved to this country during his first term, which is quite symbolic, right? So yeah, and you know what, based on what's gonna happen, I don't know if I'll choose to become a citizen, right? Or I'll keep my options open, so to speak. Who knows, right? Like, it can impact us on so many levels. People who want to create a family, who want to start their business. Speaking of light workers, right? The policies, well, no, let's not even talk about the policies, but there is a lot of uncertainty that these results have brought in. And I would just say, to me, it's more than anything. Of course, my first reaction is also like this frozen moment of just like being in shock, right? That's my usual response in the phase of, something shocking, something that impacts me so much, right? They say fight or flight response, but it's also freeze. For me, it's usually freeze. So I found myself in this frozen state for a while, but today, just like within, hours. But it's also an opportunity, as it always is on the spiritual path, to outline for yourself how much your joy, comfort, happiness does not really depend on a specific president in the country. And yeah, I know it's a kind of blasé thing to say, especially if we take some other examples in other countries around the world. But my opinion is, even for those examples, because I'm originally from Ukraine, so I actually have opinions in some of those other countries as well, without naming any. But I truly believe that there's always a choice, and there are always alternatives based on, and yes, partly, if your energy is in alignment, is high vibe, things are gonna align for you. Or at the very least, if there is a damaging effect from the government policies, it's not gonna hit you. But it's a lot more important to understand really what you want, where you're going, what your values are, not based on what the country statesmen are talking about, not based on what the religion is telling you to do, right? Religion is still a very dogmatic area of our life. So it's that opportunity to almost like define it for yourself. What is my happy? What is my successful? What is my abundant, right? And then you can check for yourself, can I do it in this environment? Can I do it with this legislation? If there is no way around it, then just focus on, then look for other places to do it, right? This planet is huge and it's beautiful, And I feel like a lot of people get blocks when it comes to maybe going elsewhere, whether it's within your country or going to another country to live. A lot of it is either because of the fear of the unknown. Like here I feel comfortable, it's my comfort zone already, even if it's not perfect, but I know what it's like, I know the language, the culture, everything, right? I'm kind of like the boss. I'm one of my own people, you know? When you go somewhere else, a lot of times you feel like a foreigner, and sometimes people feel like foreigners their entire life. There's fear of that on many levels, I mean. But the other part is also like it's either that fear of the unknown, or also it's the fear of it, you know, being too hard, of it, like the whole move, the whole idea of basically resetting your life from level 0 can be intimidating. But on the other hand, you can reshape your identity into anything you want. You can almost like reinvent yourself, right? Put closure to certain scenarios in the past and start anew. I don't know, move to a climate that you've always dreamed of, that you love, and maybe you didn't even think about it, right? But when you do, you realize when you're considering options, you're like, yes, that would be ideal for me. You know, live in the mountains, or I don't know, by the sea, or even in the desert, or in one of those spiritually charged, energetic places, right? Like maybe that's the opportunity, right? And that's exactly where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to go into that direction. And that's exactly why all these other circumstances have aligned that way. And you know, it's crazy to think about it that way. And I'm speaking from my personal experience because I've done it twice. I moved to a different country and started from scratch twice. And I was considering doing that again. This time within the States, but moving to Hawaii, which would be a completely different lifestyle. Obviously, very different community, environment, and everything. Right? So it's not impossible. It's not like, you know, see the opportunities. And I don't just mean it in a, you know, just a cliche way to say it, like there's always silver lining. I mean, like for real, right? And maybe if today in the moment you're not ready to find that path yet exactly, then at least get yourself back into your inner peace, to the grounded space with that thought in mind. Okay, so for Divine Feminines, the card is Hold Your Vision, Fixed Moon. I think I've spoken enough about that, so I am just gonna move to the masculine card because I already spent more than 7 minutes on just doing this, and I really want us to get to the actual reading itself. For masculines, we have Gibbous Moon. You are very close to achieving your goal. Beautiful, I love this so much. It's like this entire, to me, it's almost like that 9 of Wands, where it may actually get scary because you're on the precipice of getting to where you want it to be, and you know, their brain starts spinning, and you're gonna get those thoughts of like, I don't know, like what if I've put all my eggs into this one basket, what's gonna happen if I fail, you know, or I don't think that, like, this was very ambitious to do this, and I don't think that I'm ever gonna get there, so I don't even know why I tried, or something like that, right? That's what I'm sensing here for the DMs. But it's very important to actually keep the vision and to continue believing in your goal and continue acting on it, right? It's like there's like just a little bit left. You're on the finish line, but there's still a little bit more to do. I apologize for the signals, but I am in Manhattan these days, and there is not a lot I can do about this sounds. I'm sorry. Okay, so let's see what we have with the tarot. I'm limited with tables here as well, so bear with me. I might actually record something outside because there is an outside terrace in this building, and I think it might actually work really well in terms of the lighting, and also might actually have a more sufficient table for these purposes. Okay, let's see. Bottom of the deck, 8 of Cups. Yeah, so again, I like how the colors here are the same that we see in the sky at the dusk because I'm finally in the energy to record this video for you guys. But what I was gonna say is that a lot of times the reason that we are upset in the moment was what's going on around us, especially things that are happening externally, that do not depend on us. A lot of times it's because there is some kind of outdated belief system that is keeping us in that loop, that is telling us that there's something wrong with it, or I should beware, or it's not gonna end well, or whatever that story could be. I was telling my friend that once the siren starts, it usually lasts for a while. First of all, they're just very, very loud, and I'm on the high floor and you can still hear it. But also sometimes there's a problem because there are traffic jams, and they obviously, those are precisely times when they need the sirens so that the traffic can move away and they can pass. But a lot of times that's just not possible because of the amount of traffic on the road. So you can hear this, for example, ambulance. This was the ambulance noise, and you can see it, but it's stuck in traffic. It's just standing there with this terrible siren. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it usually lasts a while. 4 wands, look at that. We are actually approaching the 11/11 portal, which is gonna be super duper special. Ooh, it is gonna be special. It is coming next week. Let me think about it. Yes, it's on Monday. I will definitely record a special edition reading for that. We'll see. I will probably be at my place, so I will use special decks for that. But what I also want to do is look at and maybe do a separate video around the connection, around getting ready for union, and it's going to be both about what we sense in the energy in the collective right now and things that we usually forget that could be like your checklist on checking yourself, whether you're missing anything important on the journey, or if you're consciously choosing not to go into a particular area, not to look there, then at least you would know about it. Feminines, your energy is 7 of Wands clarified by 6 of Pentacles. Yeah, so this is, to me, this is establishing your light worker mission, and that's also part of my speech that I made at the beginning. So rewind if you just fast forwarded. Rewind to it. It has a lot to do with this energy, but I would just say briefly that right now is the time to tell the world about yourself. That's how I see it, right? To say exactly who you are, not just like I'm one of this group or I'm one of that group, right? Like I belong to this, so this is how you identify me. No, this is like I am, I don't know, Victoria, and this is my story, and this is what I've been through, and this is how I see my purpose, or this is how I see you and how I can help you, right? Very much connected to public service, but also still making it very personal story, making it sound like yeah, this is me. And you know, when they say that when you tell your personal story, that's when you connect the most, connect to the most amount of people, really, even though it seems very private, very personal, but that's exactly how you find those connections, how you resonate for other people. Masculines, you have Queen of Cups and Knight of Wands. Yeah, to me this is the feminine and the masculine. Right now, at least that's the vision that the masculines have about it, right? So they have a lot of passion, desire, and we talked about the strong pull that they're feeling towards the feminines in I think more than one reading recently. So they know that they have this pull, but they also know that they're kind of behind in many topics that the feminines have either been openly talking about, and this is true story. Your masculine could be watching whatever content you put out there, reading or listening to, and be like, oh wow, and that's been a blind spot for me. Like now I know that's the good news. The bad news, I still have no idea how to deal with it, or like it seems like it's gonna be a lot of work and I'm not sure I'm ready for it. Because a lot of times, and maybe masculines, it's gonna be quite an unpopular thought for the masculines watching, but a lot of times masculines give up if something seems like a lot of work, right? They really start like thinking, is it even worth it? Is it gonna bring me enough payback? And if they're even hesitant, not to mention if they're like, doesn't look like it, then they just immediately dismiss it, deny it, put it to bed and move on with their life. Like, then it's not for me. So this is the dilemma that the masculines have right now, right? Do I put in all that work to grow, mature, and become a worthy partner for my feminine who's so insightful, enlightened, nurturing, all these things? Or do I just go with an easier choice? And for those who are thinking, what about the pull, the passion, the desire? For some people, it's so intense. Actually, for a lot of people, it's so intense that it actually scares them off. Like it scares them, simply put. Like what is this? And again, the immediate reaction of the brain is to run away, right? Or at least dismiss it like it's not happening, it's not real, I'm just making it up. Additional question. The Hanged Man and the Eight of Pentacles. It's very interesting. I never really noticed that before, but in this Hanged Man pic, like the art, the Hanged Man isn't really hanging if you see it, because the roots of the tree are here. So it's kind of like the point is being put in place, but it's not really about hanging, right? Because a lot of times for the Hanged Man, the idea, and it's not upside down. For the Hanged Man card, the idea is the person is upside down, and they're usually hanging by like the leg or two legs, right? In very uncomfortable position. This is, to me, is not that like at all, right? So this is like seeing a different side of it and being able to connect to the story in a different way, right? And on the surface, it's gonna be quite foggy. It's gonna be not very clear. Like, I know I'm supposed to look at it, but I don't know why, right? It's like taking that moment to spend more time with it and understand, why do I need to be here? And this Eight of Pentacles then kicks in. So that it's like, okay, maybe I need to do some research, right? Or at least I like some keywords come to mind, or I see the synchronicities. Maybe that's where I start, right? And then there is some more work that needs to be done to understand fully what this message is. Because if it's not within your language that you understand, and if it's symbolic, or it's not something that you've dealt with before, you wouldn't really be able to recognize it. So that's where Eight of Pentacles is needed. What do the feminines need to know about it specifically? What's this topic about? Two of Cups clarified by the Chariot. Yeah, this is about the path towards union, towards the soul connection. Let's put it that way. Not even necessarily to a twin flame union, but to a soul connection. To really being able to make this a fruitful collaboration, to make this a happy story, right? Like, what is this path? How do we ensure that we don't really get too scared, too angry, too hurt, right? But we don't ruin it, but we actually enjoy it very much. Because yes, and we know that we learn lessons either way. Could be slightly different lessons, I would say. So you do want the depths, you do want to go full on with people like that who are soulmates. But yeah, it can be an easy way and a hard way, right? And we obviously, to a certain extent, we have a choice. And this is that trick to like get more information on how do you go with the happy path, and not like be in the smarter energy where it feels like it's always a struggle and you learn lessons through struggle. What do the masculines need to know? We have an Emperor in the Page of Pentacles. So for the masculines, it's really this about this search between and finding balance between the rough masculine and the nature, like this more aggressive nature, and versus kindness and empathy, which is more of a feminine energy. And of course, and I like this somewhat disbalance here, because there's definitely a lot more of masculine energy within the masculine avatar, right, than there is feminine. But both of them are equally important, and this is about blending the two together. It's not even like Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. No, we don't want that. We want this to be a solid person, you know, the entire time. And yes, it could be a little bit more this way, a little bit more that way, but both energies are present at all times. That's how it works. And this is like finding peace with both the masculine and the feminine within. But in a practical way. I don't just mean like, yeah, let's say a prayer and, you know, we'll consider that we found it. No, this is a very practical way, like in specific cases, whatever is on the DM's mind, on their agenda of the day. How the feminine seeing the connection? We see the Empress clarified by Page of Cups. Well, we officially have the Emperor and the Empress in the reading. Congratulations. For those who were asking questions on whether the masculine that they're dealing with right now is their DM, or if whether you're on the right path here, whether you are a twin at all, or whether you're making progress, this is the yes answer in this reading because of this. But also, I like how we see these pages, and we just saw a page and an Emperor for the masculine, right? So the feminine is basically saying, but this is cups though, because for in this case, both cards are of the feminine nature. And to me, this says that the feminine recognizes how their role in this connection is critical, and not just in like building boundaries and setting high standards, right, to the masculines. Because a lot of times from what we hear in twin flame channels and other resources is that that's what it is, right? And don't let them come close until they're ready. But this is much more than that, right? This is like this, we are helping them build this blueprint of what a loving relationship is. A friendship, a business partnership, between two romantic partners, between two spouses, which would still be slightly different, right? So this is essentially that they're seeing how much of this, first of all, how much of a role model the feminine is to the masculines. Not maybe in all cases, but in a lot of cases. And secondly, just like how much of that new blueprint that they're building in the masculine's head in terms of the feminine and in terms of the unconditional love and trusted loving relationships in general. Masculines, you have Four of Pentacles clarified by Three of Swords. Yeah, masculines are overcoming some hardships in their life where they've been let down. It doesn't have to be romantically. For some it would be, you know, by karmic partner. For others it would be by somebody who they let in too close to their space, to their heart. And now there is like that certain protective energy, but not in a good way. It's more like, I think I'm gonna, you know, keep it safe, right? Like I'm gonna keep my distance. And not just from this connection, but just in general. And that's the main message from the masculine there. That right now I'm just keeping myself in this safe container because I needed to heal, I needed to recover, and I needed to reset some of my ideas and beliefs onto how I want to move next with my life. So please bear with me, Divine Feminine. Please have patience while I'm going through this process for myself and rebuilding the baseline, basically, the foundation here. Okay, I hope this was useful to you guys. Sorry for a long read today, but I felt like the energy of the day really dictated the past. And also you can now see the night version of the skyline behind me. Okay, I hope this was useful. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And until next time.